Okay, let's inshallah begin with Allahu Akbar. We all know that Allahu Akbar is called Takbiratul Ihram. That when you say your first takbir, Allahu Akbar, and everything becomes forbidden on the someone who's praying. That's why it is called Takbiratul Ihram. Takbir, which makes everything other than Salah haram. Okay. For example, when you are starting your, when you are praying, when you start your prayer, you cannot talk to someone, you cannot eat, you cannot do anything other than salah. So that is why it's called takbiratul ihram. Now, what is Allahu? There are two words, Allahu and akbaru. It's very simple. Allahu is mubtada and akbaru is the khabar. It's a simple jumlatul ismiya. Allahu mean Allah. Akbaru mean greater. Allah is greater. Normally, when you see this comparative degree, for example, greater or better, your common sense says that there has to be something that Allah is greater than what, or Allah is, yes. Now, the reason that nothing is mentioned after Akbaru, it will make it more profound statement that Allah is greater than anything and everything. And for this reason, when we consult the books of grammar, they say that it is actually we are saying Allahu Akbaru min kulli shay. Allah is greater min from kulli, every shay mean thing. Allah is greater than everything. But obviously min kulli shay is not part of the text. But just for the sake of understanding this point, that when this comparative degree is used and nothing is mentioned after that, it covers everything and anything. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is greater than everything and anything. Then we, after saying Allahu Akbar, then we have dua ul istaftah, opening dua. Istaftah, opening dua. And we know that there are many du'as which are mentioned in ahadith, and you can recite any one of them. The reason I mentioned this one, as we all know that this is the most common. Most of us will recite this dua. Okay, so let's inshallah analyze this. Some people call it sana, which means praise of Allah, and some people call it dua al istaftah, opening dua basically. Now, the first word is subhanaka. Subhana and ka. They are two words, right? Now, second thing is, obviously, ka is an attached pronoun. And most of us, we know the meaning of subhan, glorified. Okay, so subhan is a ism. Now, we know, we have learned this principle multiple times, that whenever you see attached pronoun coming with a ism, it is always mudaf ilay construction, which means subhan, this first part subhan is mudaf, and this ka part is mudaf ilay. Subhanaka is a mudaf ilay construction. That is one point. Second point is that this word subhan, it belongs to those words which only have two shapes. For example, what I mean by this is, you know that when ism is in rafa status, it has singular ism in rafa status, it has dhamma, and when a singular ism is in nasab status, it has fatha, and when a singular ism is in jar status, it has kasra. Remember this point. Those words which end with alif noon, like subhan end with the alif noon, these words, they do not have kasra. they can only have dhamma or fatha. So even if they are in jar status, they will not take kasra. So remember this point. Okay, now next point is, from a practical point of view, when you reflect on the du'as in Sunnah or ayat of the Quran, you will notice that this subhan is almost every time it is used as a mudaf ilay. You can try to think of any ayat in which you have this word subhan, and you will see that it is coming as a mudaf. So that is another point we are learning today regarding the, it does not mean, by the way, that it can only come as mudaf. I'm not saying that. I'm saying as a practical reality, what we notice is that it is used as mudaf. As in this case, subhan, the first part, subhan, is used as mudaf. Okay, now inshallah, last point. Last point, inshallah, before I come to that point, let's deal with the next word, Allahumma. We have, I think, discussed this point at one point in our surahs as well. Let me repeat this point. Allahumma is actually equivalent of Ya Allah. Ya Allah. What is Ya? Harfun nida, the calling particle. And Allah is called munada, the one being called, right? In the case of Ya Allah, it is unique only with this word Allah, that sometime Ya is removed and meme with the tashdeed. This meme with tashdeed is actually a replacement for Ya. Remember this point. Obviously, the word Allah is simply Allah, and this meme with the tashdeed is actually a replacement of harfun nida, which is Ya. So Allah will be called munada. Munada means one being called. And this meme will be replacement of harf nida, Ya. That this meme is a replacement of harfun nida, Ya. So either you say Ya Allah or you say Allahumma, same meaning. Last point. When you see this harfun nida and munada, you do not give them any label in the sentence. What I mean by this is that, as we know that we give the labels of nominal or jumlatul ismiya, which are mubtada, khabar, mutalik bil khabar. Likewise, we give the labels of jumlatul failiya, fail, file, maf'ul, mutalik bil fail. Harfun nida and munada will be only labeled as I did here, that this is harfun nida and this is munada, and that's it. They will not be given any role in the sentence, right? After that, you have the word wow, which is in this case for ataf or conjunction. Now, what you need to notice is you only have this mudaf ilay phrase. In the first part, all you have is a mudaf ilay phrase, and that's it. Nothing else is there. Now, the grammarians, they need to justify this, that what this word or what this phrase is doing here. Now, please understand and remember this point. Whenever they have ism in nasab status, as in this case, subhana is in a nasab status. Don't forget this point. Subhana, fatha in nasab status. So whenever they have ism in nasab status, either alone or as a phrase. For example, in this case, subhanaka is a complete mudaf ilay phrase. So it doesn't matter either that ism is coming as a phrase or is coming on its own. If all they have is a ism in nasab status, they would say that actually there is a employed fail, employed, and this ism is in nasab status because this is the maf'ul of that employed fail. You may be thinking that what is the point of all of this exercise? The only point is they want to give a grammatical explanation that you have a ism in nasab status and nothing else is there. What is the grammatical status of this word? So this will be the principle from now onward. If you have ism in nasab status, either on its own or as a mudaf ilayh or as a mawsoof sifa, it doesn't matter. If it ism is in nasab status, we will say that this ism is actually playing the role of maf'ul for an employed fail. And in this case, they say that employed fail is usabbihu, sabbaha, sabbaha, yusabbihu. Sabbaha mean he declared tasbih. Yusabbihu fail mudare. Sabbaha yusabbihu. This yusabbihu fail mudare, he declares tasbih. If you make the whole chart of yusabbihu at number 13, you have usabbihu. I declare tasbih. So they say that it is actually Allahumma. Or they say that usabbihu subhanak Allahumma. Oh Allah, I declare tasbih. Usabbihu mean I declare tasbih. Subhanaka, tasbih of your. Oh Allah, I declare tasbih. Which tasbih? Your tasbih. So subhanaka, your tasbih, from a grammatical point of view, is a maf'ul for employed fail. Any question about what I said? Look at the next part. So waw is a ataf, ba is jar, hamdika. So ba is jar and hamdika is majroor, but at the same time hamdi and ka are mudaf ilay. Because ka is an attached pronoun, and whenever pronoun is attached with the ism, we know the principle that whenever pronoun is attached with the ism, it is always mudaf ilayh. Because hamd, the word hamd is a ism and ka is attached to hamd. So hamd is mudaf and ka is mudaf ilayh. But this mudaf ilayh together is in the bucket of majroor. And then you have the word wow. Once again, what have you got here? All you got is a jar majroor phrase. Because after this wow, a new thing started. And in that new thing, all you have is a jar majroor phrase. And we know that jar majroor phrase plays the role of muta'alliq. It can be muta'alliq bil fail or muta'alliq bil khabar. Obviously, we did not get anything after this word. Once again, same point will apply here as well. You will say that there is a implied fail and bihamdika is muta'alliq bil fail. Which fail? Implied fail. For example, I give one example. You can say that taqidu. As we say the word akida. Akida is a masdar. Okay. Ataqidu. I have this aqidah. Aqidah of what? Of the hamd of Allah, bihamdika. I just gave you as an example that what is that implied fail. Regarding that implied fail, they make different kind of estimations depending on the context, that what can be the possible implied fail, but that is their estimation, because obviously that is not part of the text. In the text, all you have is bihamdika. Nothing else is there. So like I said before, what you are learning today is, in this world bihamdika, that if you only have a jar majroor phrase, as in this case bihamdika, and nothing else is there, you will say that this jar majroor phrase is mutaalliq bil fail. Which fail? That is the word they use. Let me write down the word mahzoof. Mahzoof. Mahzoof mean, in our language you can say implied. It actually means deleted. Deleted, which is not written in the text, but you can say it be implied. There's an implied fail, and this bihamdika is a mutaalliq bil that implied fail. Any question about this bihamdika? Okay, and inshallah, let's just complete this inshallah sana, and then we end with this one. Again, this wow is a ataf. Tabaraka, and that is this family, Tabaraka. It is also inshallah one family which we will learn very soon. It has this ta and this extra alif here. Inshallah, we'll learn about this one. But for now, don't think that this kaf is the attached pronoun. No. You know, we use the word mubarak or baraka or baraka. So ba, ra, and kaf. Ba, ra, and kaf. These are the root letters, and this ta and this extra alif, they are part of the pattern. So it is still fail madi, but not from the three root letters, from sulasi, mazid fi, from the additional families in which something is added to the container. So tabaraka, simple word was baraka. Tabaraka. Okay, both of them are fail madi. The difference is baraka is from three root letters, and tabaraka is from the additional category. So tabaraka is fail madi, and it is number 1 in the madi chart. And being number 1 in the madi chart, it has a built-in huwa. But we still need to see, because number 1 and number 4 in the chart, they may have an outside file. Ismuka, look at this one. Ismuka. First of all, this ismu and ka, these are mudaf and mudaf ilay. Now, what is the status of ismu? This dhamma is telling you that the word ismu, the ismu is in rafa status. And what is the principle? In jumlatul failiyah. And this is a jumlatul failiyah. Why? Because tabaraka was fail madi. In jumlatul failiyah, if you get ism in rafa status, that ism will play the role of file, and the built-in file will be cancelled. So tabaraka, which means he is blessed. Now you will say ismuka, your name is blessed. Now you may be thinking that why I'm translating it like a jumlatul ismiya. That is the, you can say, this is the language problem here, because sometimes we have jumla failiyah, but when we write in Arabic, it looks like jumla ismiya and vice versa. So tabaraka was fail madi. Ismuka, this ismuka is the file. Why? Because the word ismu is in rafa status, and because ismu and ka are connected together, we put both of them in the bucket of outside file. So tabaraka was fail madi, ismuka is the file. So tabaraka, that he himself is blessed. Tabarakasmuka, his name is your ismuka, your name is blessed. Tabarakasmuka mean your name is blessed. Tabaraka fail madi, ismuka is the ism, and the whole thing is mudaf ilay, and because ism was in rafa status, it played the role of file, right? If you understand this one, next one is exactly the same. Waw is the ataf part, ta'ala, same, tabara and ta'ala, both of them are in the same category of container, extra ta, and you see this alif here. Okay, so ta'ala mean to something is high. Okay, ta'ala means something is high. So ta'ala is once again fail madi, and it's again number 1 in the madi chart. It has a built-in file huwa, but huwa will be cancelled. Why? Because the same thing, jaddu and ka, mudaf and mudaf ilay, jaddu and ka, and because jaddu is in rafa status, so it will be playing the role of file, the whole thing, jaddu ka. Why? Because they are connected together. So ta'ala mean he is high, because jaddu has cancelled the word he. Your majesty is high. Ta'ala jadduka, your majesty is high. Inshallah, we'll deal with next one, bismillah ta'ala, in the next lesson, because it will need a bit of explanation, which might take some time, inshallah, and you may be late from the Maghrib. So inshallah, we can end here. Now, video is recorded. It will be shared in the group. You can watch it again. And inshallah, when we join in our next class, first you can ask me any of your questions regarding these first 3 sentences of Sana. And then inshallah, we will move on. What I want all of you is that you have to be clear about every single letter of the text of prayer. Why? So when you are reciting these things, you truly connect with the text, and inshallah in our next lesson we'll translate that in a proper way as well. But the main thing is this analysis. So these 3 sentences, inshallah, you can ask me your questions in our next lesson. Anything before we end? Okay, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.